Hello, my name is Lauren and welcome to the Theoretical YouTube channel, where I think we can all agree that Soul is one of the best, most recent Pixar movies. Especially in terms of its implications for the rest of the Pixar theory. So even if for some unimaginable reason you didn't like the movie, you still have to admit that it's a lore-filled addition to the Pixar universe. After all, now we know roughly the process by which every single Pixar character in existence acquired a soul, and to a lesser extent a personality. But Soul also has a problem, which is that there are simply too many souls in existence. Let me explain. Right before Jerry introduces Joe and the audience to soul number 22, they assign a mentor to soul number 108,210,121,415. Anyway, Soul takes place in modern times, if not the year 2020 in the Pixar universe. But if you look up how many people there have ever been on Earth in the history of mankind, scientists estimate it's only around 107 billion people. Here's a BBC article from 2012 that confirms this number. And yes, this article is around 8 years old now, but a 1 billion person discrepancy is kind of ridiculous, given the fact that the current world population is around 7.5 billion. I highly doubt that it has increased by 13% in less than a decade. That would mean that 1 in every 7 people alive was born after 2012, and that is just not the case. And so our big question for today is, where did the extra billion souls come from? Okay, let me clarify again. The real question is, why is there an extra billion souls in the Pixar universe?
The count's off.
And yes, a billion missing souls is something worth questioning here, because a billion is a big number! To me, it seems pretty obvious that Pixar looked up what the actual number was, fudged with it a little bit to fit some greater narrative going on in the Pixar universe. So let's begin by explaining why the Pixar universe is special in the first place. And also, what do I mean when I say the Pixar universe? Well, if you believe in the Pixar theory, and since you're watching this video, I'm inclined to assume that you do, then you think that every Pixar movie takes place on one massive interconnected timeline that spans the rise and fall of 3 distinct civilizations: the humans, the animals, and the machines. But we will come back to this idea. The Pixar theory, as it was published by John Negroni, who first proposed the idea, or at least got popular doing it, used to begin with Brave and end with Monsters, Inc. This created a loop where Boo goes back in time and becomes the witch that turned Merida's mom into a bear. That made no sense if you don't already know what I'm talking about. But as of 2015, we have an even earlier point on the Pixar timeline with The Good Dinosaur, which finally, after 20 years of the company, explained why the Pixar universe is different than ours. The Pixar universe is an alternate timeline where the meteor that struck Earth and killed the dinosaurs passes by harmlessly, thus creating a massive butterfly effect type ripple that went on for thousands of years and formed a world for all our favorite nostalgia trips. But what we're trying to figure out today is why the comet missing Earth somehow created an extra billion souls by the time Joe Gardner died. And I have 2 solutions for you, one of which is incredibly boring and the other is intricately woven into the lore of Pixar. I'll let you guess which one I'm more excited about. Well, the much less interesting answer is that the meteor missing Earth somehow allowed humans to develop earlier. Not dramatically or anything, just early enough to squeeze in an extra billion people before modern times. But like I said, that's not a fun answer. And it doesn't tell us anything about the other Pixar movies. And this video is way longer than that sentence. So, option 2, humans aren't the only Pixar characters with souls. Well, this isn't so much of a solution as a basic fact given to us in the plot of Soul. See, look, Mr. Mittens has a soul. It's right here. And Mr. Mittens is not a human. Therefore, animals in the Pixar universe have souls too. But hold on there. We're only trying to account for an extra billion souls here. Right now, on Earth, there are about 370 million domesticated house cats, which is almost half of our missing soul count. But what about the other Pixar animals, like the fish in Finding Nemo? The ocean is a mysterious place, but according to World Atlas, there are currently 3.5 trillion living fish right now. Right now! And that's not to mention every other animal that we have ever seen in a Pixar movie. Maybe we can ignore all the bugs in A Bug's Life because that movie takes place after Soul in the Pixar timeline. And thank goodness, because Google says that there are 1 million billion ants on Earth. And what about the rats in Paris, the septipods and seals in California, or the dogs in South America?
No. Soon enough the bird will be ours yet again.
Ratatouille, Finding Dory, and Up all take place either before or during the same time period as Soul. Like, Joe clearly has a cell phone, but Chef Skinner used a landline to call the health department. And there are currently 2 billion rats alive right now. Sleep tight. So what makes Mr. Mittens so special, huh? Why does he get a soul? Why does he get to go to the great beyond when so many other animals just don't? And what about the dinosaurs who weren't killed by the meteor in The Good Dinosaur? Is Pixar telling us that Spot gets an afterlife, but Arlo never even had a soul to begin with because he wasn't human? That can't be right. There have obviously been more than 1 billion animals alive between the deaths of Arlo's father and Joe Gardner. What makes humans so special? Well, we're sentient. And sentience is kind of a big deal in the Pixar theory. Remember what I said about those 3 civilizations? The humans are pretty darn obvious because that development looks so similar to our own reality. Until some humans evolve even further and become superheroes, but that's not really relevant right now. What's more important is the way we track machines and animals. The machine revolution in the Pixar theory starts with toys, maybe, and ends with robots falling in love and saving humanity. And they even get to rule Earth while the humans are away at space camp for a few hundred years. That's when the sentient cars have taken over the planet. And the bugs do okay for themselves, eventually. But the animals themselves never really get put in charge. Unless you count that time that dinosaurs invented agriculture and farming. Basically, animals get sentience, but the short end of the Pixar species war stick. They're either stuck in the ocean during Finding Nemo, and either fear, work for, or outright serve humans in Up and Ratatouille.
He is my master.
I am not your master.
But I think we should take a closer look at Finding Nemo because that's where we see animals start to gain sentience after they lost it when the dinosaurs died out. Because only some of the fish and other sea life in Finding Nemo actually have sentience. Obviously Marlin, Dory, Nemo, and the other main characters do, but what about the whale?
Dory. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you sure you speak whale?
These whales have sentience and personality, but this one doesn't. And the jellyfish don't. And when he smells blood, Bruce kicks back into an instinctual haze where he loses rational thinking and personality.
That's good. Intervention!
Almost like a lost soul. And then there's animals that look like they're gaining sentience, but just aren't quite there yet. Compare the seagulls to Nigel, or the other seals to Gerald.
Mine.
Come on, Gerald. Give us your pail. We'll let you sit on the rock.
Yeah, Gerald. We swear it.
And we know that Finding Dory takes place in roughly modern times, because, you know.
Hello? I'm Sigourney Weaver.
So during the peak of human civilization, the animals are just starting their second revolution of sentience. And machines have barely started waking up at all. So all this to say that I think I might have found our extra billion souls. In the select animals, and a couple machines who have gained sentience and therefore souls again. Arlo and his family had souls, but that colorful lizard did not. Marlin and his family have souls, but the barracuda that killed him did not. Remy and his family have souls, but maybe every other colony of rats do not. After all, Ratatouille is the story of a rat who becomes a chef, not a rat who becomes a chef. The weird part is the sentient rat. That's not normal even at this point in the Pixar timeline. I think Doug has a soul, but Kevin does not. I think that the vast majority of animals, both alive and dead, by the time Joe Gardner is pursuing a music career in New York City, did not have souls. In fact, only 1 billion animals in between the plots of The Good Dinosaur and Soul did. Of course, this means that over the next few hundred years, The Great Before is gonna have to start ramping up soul production. You know, to account for the animal and machine sentience revolutions that are taking place in the very near future. Terry's gonna have a blast with that, huh? Anyway, that is my best explanation of not only where the extra billion souls came from, but why it's only a billion souls off from our own reality. Because animals don't count. Most of the time. Anyway, did you like this video? If you did, you might like our other soul theory where we try to figure out which Pixar character soul number 22 eventually becomes. You can also like this video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel to not miss the next time we make a Pixar theory. You can also follow us on Twitter at theory_central, where you can vote whether or not you think Spot from The Good Dinosaur has a soul. And support us on Patreon to give us your own soul. But no, you heard me wrong. But as a parting thought, do you think that animals go to the same great beyond as humans? I don't. Anyway, thanks for watching. You have to leave a comment to effectively argue with me, and I'll see you later.
Gerald, Gerald, off the rock, Gerald! You don't